Okay.
Oh, man.
Hey, it looks like a few folks are joining us now. Looks like a few folks are trying to join us. We'll be started in just a minute or two once a number of folks get here. We have about 20 folks who registered for our class tonight, and I sure am glad that you have had taken the time to join us tonight. My name's Jeffrey Knight. My son William is with us as well. He's our co-host, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about how to buy a house this spring and in 2026, this interesting real estate market that we have. Thank you for coming. William, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the plan for what we're looking to do this evening, if you don't mind? One thing you need to know, your castle is our quest. And that's our little motto. We are the Knight Group at North Realty, Georgia. And for the Knight Group, every home and every house is a castle. So you're going to see a lot of castles tonight. William, talk to us about how we want to interact with folks tonight while we're bringing a few more people in. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're glad that everyone can join us tonight. We're really excited. We're going to have some good information about first time home buying. If you bought a home before, it'll be some good info. But before we get into it, we just got to go over a few things. You can turn your camera on or off. It's up to you. Make sure to go down to the chat box. It'll be down at the bottom of your screen. You can hit it, and then we're going to be asking some questions. So you can make any questions you have, and I'll be responding in there. Also, if you want to react to something we're saying, you can raise your hand if you have a question or throw a thumbs up in there for us. That'd be great. So, yeah.
Terrific. Thanks, Will. Hey, go ahead just for fun. Everybody sort of test out the chat box. If you don't mind, real quick, how about just giving us an idea of kind of what area of town or area of Georgia, or maybe you're outside of Georgia, where you're from, so we can make sure the chat is working. If you don't mind, just do that. Don't have to tell us your address or anything, but give us an idea where you're from. Okay. I see a few folks on here. There you go. Oh, Gainesville, Georgia. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Appreciate you sharing. Everybody else just kind of type in there, make sure your chat box is working. If you have any trouble, we'll see what we can do about it. It's Zoom, so we're not sure about how to change much. But oh, I see Dottie is from Dahlonega. Wonderful. That's where our office is, up in Dahlonega, too. That's great. Anybody else that's in here already? Go ahead. I see someone named iPhone. That's a neat name as well, but that's fine. And anybody else? Oh, okay. Labina, I think is how you say your name's from Sewanee. Beautiful part of town down in Sewanee. Excellent, excellent. And anyone else want to tell us where you're from? Well, that's a few folks. Listen, also, if you want to, give the whole group an idea of a little bit about kind of your situation. Certainly give us an idea if you don't mind. We'd love to know a couple things. If you want to share it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine as well. But maybe you could tell us if you've ever bought a house, and if you're thinking of moving, how soon are you interested in moving? Kind of type that in there so we get an idea of who's here and what you're thinking about doing. And maybe if you want to, you put kind of what kind of house you're looking for. Maybe someone on here's got one. It might work out for you. You never know. But feel free to make sure your chat box is working. We'll be taking a look at that. And as William said, put questions in. If they come to mind, go ahead and type them in. We won't answer them as we're going, most likely, but we will get to the answers at the end of our presentation. Tonight's presentation should take about 40 to 45 minutes, and then we'll spend the rest of the time in questions and answers, okay? And if we don't get to all your questions tonight, sometimes there's questions you're going to want to ask in person. we'll be happy to set up a time to answer your questions in a private phone call, chat, or something like that. Okay, wonderful. Well, let's just keep kind of going. Here's my question for you. How are you feeling? Now, I can't ask about how you're feeling just tonight, but how are you feeling about this whole idea of buying a home? Some of you, I bet, have already purchased homes, and that's terrific. I'm glad you joined us tonight because there's a lot of things that have changed in the 2024, 25, and 26 real estate market that really will kind of be pertinent for you as well. And there's some of you who are first-time home buyers. We're going to try to address some questions that both folks might have tonight. So make sure you put those in. But are you feeling concerned? Are you a little stressed out? I'm looking over here and say, oh, I see someone has owned a home and they've also sold a home. That's great. Another one, Tolu, you look like you've never bought a home before. That's all right. And you'd like to have a single family home. That's a terrific goal. We're going to do our best to help you get there in this short time tonight. Okay. I'm seeing someone else who's looking for a multi-unit. Well, great. Kind of an investment property. We're not going to address specifically that issue, but we'd love to chat with you. We help a lot of investors and we're investors ourselves. So happy to chat with you about that also. Looking for someone else, giving us some answers, looking at somebody that Dottie's looking to maybe move by the end of the summer. Great timing. This gives you plenty of time to get ready, to go through the whole process to find the right home for you. Well, we're all concerned or anxious about something here tonight. That's why you're here. We're going to do our best to help make you feel at the end of this time that you're feeling a little bit more confident about the whole process of buying a home. That's why we're here. Tonight, our goals are simple. We want you to feel in control. Okay? We want you to understand the basic ideas of the buying process and the order in which someone who's wanting to buy a home should go through. All right? We want you to know 6 mistakes that a lot of buyers make, and they're critical mistakes that can seriously cost you lots of money, cost you a lot of time, headaches. But we want to try to avoid those mistakes. You agree? Avoiding mistakes sound good? Yeah? All right. We want to learn about financing your home. We'll be talking about that as well. You might have cash and that's super, but a lot of folks need to go and ask a lender or a mortgage broker. We'll talk about that briefly tonight as well. We also want folks who are first-time home buyers to know what some of your first-time home buying options are. So, there's a lot of programs in the state of Georgia to help first-time home buyers. We'll touch on that as well tonight. All right. And finally, we want you to go away knowing more than you do now. That's our goal, and I hope we achieve it. Let's keep going. Here's a little picture of our team. Now, this is just sort of the portion at the top of the rainbow of our team. You've got William Knight there. He's my son. He's been in real estate just a few years now. He's also still finishing up a business degree up at the University of North Georgia. He's a fine fella, and I think we're going to keep him. So there, I'm in the middle. I've been doing this real estate stuff since 1995. I was about 3 years old at the time, but that's when we started about 30 some years ago. So I have some experience in investment properties, have owned a lot of investment properties, and have helped a lot of folks buy and sell homes. So hopefully we can share that information. Also, our broker, his name is Philip. And Philip's been doing this also for about 35 years up in the North Georgia area, and he's part of the team as well. You may have a chance to speak with him as we help you purchase your home. Here's a picture of the kids, my kids when they were little. That's William on the right there, and Winston in the middle, and Victoria. And then you see them all grown up. Victoria is just graduating from college. She's heading over to Korea to teach art at a school over that way in the fall. My son Winston, he's an air traffic controller up in Norfolk, Virginia for the Navy. And as I said, William's a part of our team here. We've put together a little booklet, a little magazine, and we'd love to get this out to you. I'm going to do my best in the next couple of days to send a link so you can get a copy of this digitally. And then if we get together and meet, we'll certainly give you one, a little hard copy as well. You can take a look at. Some of the information that we're talking about tonight comes from that booklet. And we also, at the end of the program, if you stay to the end, we'll be happy to give you a 130-page book. It's going to be a digital book, but also if we meet, we'll give you a hardback copy of that as well. Basically, it's a book about buying a home. And we'll answer a few more questions that we have time to get to tonight. All right. As I said, this is the Castle Buying Guide webinar. William and I, our last name is Knight, and so for us, every home's a castle. We're going to help you avoid tonight 7 mistakes. Give me a little thumbs up if you'd like to avoid some mistakes in home buying. Come on, little thumbs up, hit that chat button, that clap button. There's all kind of ways to do it. Nobody's got their cameras on, so I can't see you waving at me. But if you just want to wave, we'll just kind of feel the vibes. That's fine. But yeah, okay. Here are the 7 real quick. I'm going to fly through them, and then we're going to discuss each one of them. I want you to make sure you avoid those, okay? There's a thumbs up. Thank you, iPhone. Number 1, a lot of buyers do the right things, but they do it in the wrong order. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Second, a critical mistake is when folks decide to skip the whole pre-qualification and pre-approval process before they start looking at homes. We'll talk about why that can cause you some trouble as well. Number 3, a lot of folks underestimate what it's really going to cost to purchase a home. We'll be talking about that tonight. Number 4, some folks feel like they can go ahead and go through this whole buying process on their own, and they don't get, I guess you could call it their own agent, their own realtor, their own expert who can help them through the process. We'll talk about why that can be harmful as well. The next one, number 5, is going directly to a builder. And, these new home constructions, there's a lot of good deals out there, but going directly to them without somebody representing you can also be dangerous, truly dangerous. Number 6 is overlooking first-time home buyer programs. And you're going to be excited about what you hear about those tonight. Next and last, really, there's a lot more, but this is the one that has gotten me too. I did this once when I was buying a home. I neglected to get some inspections on the home. Can you believe that? I thought I knew everything. I bought lots of homes in the past. I thought I could figure out the problems. Well, I couldn't. But we won't go into the details unless we get together. I'll tell you a few stories. But we have other buyers too that sometimes just say, no, I don't need that inspection. I feel confident in buying. And sometimes that can run into trouble. So we're going to talk about 6 different inspections that you're going to want to make sure you get on your home before you pay any money for it. Okay? So let's talk about mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is doing the right things, but in the wrong order. Well, what do I mean? The recipe for buying the wrong castle, it sort of goes like this. I remember back when I was trying to cook, when I was in college and in grad school, trying to cook for myself and trying to put things together. Sometimes I put them together in the wrong order and they would come out pretty nasty. They'd come out nasty even if I put them in the right order, but definitely if I didn't know the order. And here's what a lot of buyers do. They sort of meander on their phone or on their computer looking at Zillow and some of these other online portals, and they kind of start looking at homes, scatter shooting around. And then they might do it for 2 or 3 years, and then they disqualify themselves from the homes and neighborhoods that really are actually obtainable because they're not quite sure how it all works. Then some people, they kind of get curious and they'll see a for sale sign in their neighborhood or in the area they're looking to buy. They might call on that and they might go visit that home and look at it. But that home's not anything they really want. They just thought it looked pretty from the outside. Next, a lot of folks will go to open houses. You'll see open houses out on Saturdays and Sundays, probably all around your neighborhood. And it's kind of fun to stop in. But again, half the time or 80% of the time, that's not a home that you're ever going to buy. Okay? Next, people get tired. They've been looking online. They've been trying to get stuff. They've called agents. They've gone to open houses. They've talked to builders. They've done it all. They're so tired that finally they just go in and they end up signing a contract on a home that may not really be the best home for them. Now, these are all the things that people can do. Some of these things are good things to do, but if we don't do it in the right order, it won't get you smoothly through this whole home buying process. Here's a quick chart you can take a look at. You'll notice these are the 9 steps of the process in the order that will suit you the best. It'll make it faster, it'll make it easier, and it'll give you fewer headaches. First, we recommend meeting with a realtor, meeting with somebody like us. We're real estate consultants, and we consult with folks to help them find the best home at the best price in the time that you want it. Second step is pre-approval for a loan. You got to arrange the financing before you really want to go into looking at homes. That way you'll make sure you're looking at the right homes. Then we go home searching. That's the fun part. It can get laborious if we're not careful. We're going to try to zone in on the right homes that then we go look at the ones that really are the homes that might interest you. Okay. You can see step 4. Well, that's showings. That's what we get in the car. We're going to set up a tour. We'll go out according to your time frame. We can do that during the weekday or weekends. We make it work for you. Once we find the home that you love, you fall in love with it, we'll make an offer. We'll help you through that process. You'll get the offer accepted. Cross your fingers and say a prayer. We're going to set up inspections. We're going to help you get an appraisal. We're going to do all those things until your loan is approved. And then what we call celebration day. Some people call it the closing, but we don't want it to be a closing. We want you to celebrate. Now that's the steps. Let's go through a couple more mistakes, and then we'll talk through each one of those steps, if you don't mind. Does that sound good? Give me a wave again. Say hi to me. I've got to get something to drink. Let's talk about mistake number 2. Skipping the pre-approval. I see a thumbs up and a wave. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I really do. Skipping a pre-approval. What is that all about? Well, here's the thing. If you've never purchased a home, you realize that not only do you have to love the home, but you need to find the money for the home. Now, if you've got cash, super. But if you need to get financing, the very first step after meeting with your realtor is to set up an appointment with one or more mortgage lenders. All right? It might be your bank. It might be a mortgage broker who can shop around to find the best mortgages for you from different sources. But that's the first thing to do. Now, that mortgage lender, they're going to be able to look at your credit score and your financing and your background and your job and your income. They can study all that, and they can very quickly give you a pretty fair idea of the amount of money you can afford, or basically the amount of money they're willing to afford to you to purchase a home. They'll be talking to you about the monthly payment. What's a monthly payment that feels comfortable to you? Just because they'll say, oh, you can borrow up to a certain amount, or we recommend up to a certain amount, you've got to make sure you're comfortable with that mortgage payment, because you're going to be the one paying it every month. All right. First step then is to meet with them. You're going to talk with us or one of your agents. We're going to recommend a couple, 2 or 3 different mortgage brokers, depending on your specific circumstances. And then that's going to help you shop with confidence. We'll all know that, yes, that's the price range that the homes are that we're going to be looking at for you. Okay, so pre-approval is very important. Here's a few things that pre-approval they're going to ask you. Pre-qualification helps you determine how much you can afford. They're going to look at your credit score. They're going to look at your income. They're going to look at your assets. All right, and pre-qualification will help you determine what houses you qualify to purchase. It will give you better bargaining power, because you can go into that home seller and say, I am qualified. I am approved for the loan. Sellers like to hear that, okay? It'll also estimate your monthly payment and your total investment overall, 15, 20, 10, 30 years, whatever it would be. And if Mr. Trump has his way, maybe 50 years. You never know. It'll also help you identify which loan product, talk about that in a minute, which loan product will be right for you and your circumstances. So that's very important. Now, here's a few tips for you real quick. I'm going to fly through these, but here's some tips that you do want to do once you're getting into that pre-approval process and once you're moving forward to purchasing a home. You do want to call us if you have any questions, or your mortgage broker. Any questions, call us. We're happy to answer it or get the answers for you. You probably want to continue living at your current residence. If you start moving around in this process, it will slow things down. You're going to want to continue to pay your mortgage or your rent. Don't think, oh, well, I'm about to buy a new home. I just let those slide. That's not going to work because the banks will know about it within about 24 hours. Okay. You want to continue to use your credit as normal. You want to keep working at your current employer. You want to keep your same insurance company. You want to stay current on all your existing accounts. And you want to expect requests for additional documentation. These folks are going to ask you, hey, can you send us this? Can you send us that? That's going to happen pretty frequently as you go through the process. Okay. Now, here's some things you don't want to do. You don't want to make any large purchases during this period of time. You're going to buy a house. That's a pretty large purchase. So don't go out and buy that fancy new car, okay, or that new tractor or whatever you're thinking of. Kind of wait until you go ahead and close and celebrate the purchase of your new home. You don't want to change your bank accounts. You don't want to make any large cash deposits because that just gets folks asking questions. Where did that money come from? You don't want to transfer your balances between different bank accounts. You don't want to close any of your credit cards either, okay? You don't want to consolidate your debt into one or two credit cards either. These are things, if you have questions, ask your mortgage lender, hey, I was thinking of doing this. Will that help or will that hinder? They'll be happy to give you those answers. But as a general rule, these are some things you want to stay away from. You don't want to apply for new credit or new line credit or new credit cards either. And you certainly don't want to max out or overcharge any of your credit card accounts. So those are simple things. As you go towards purchasing a home, you've got to be careful about those finances. All right. Hey, real quick, couple other lender tips. If you're a person who even if you're thinking of selling a current home, and using the funds from that home to buy your next home, you still should sit down with a mortgage lender or your banker and talk to them about the timing. Because quite frankly, a lot of times you might find the perfect home and you want to lock that home in and even close on the purchase before you sell your current home. In today's market, that's something a lot of folks have had to do. All right. So those folks, the lender can talk with you about bridge loans, about equity loans, and all those types of things, and have those conversations before you even start to go wandering around looking at properties you're thinking of buying. All right. What about other pre-approval? Let's see. Major mistake number three. Major mistake number three is underestimating the costs. I have to tell you, purchasing a home, there are some costs, all right? And both myself, William, and your mortgage lender will talk to you about what the different closing costs and costs are going to be that will be involved in buying a home. Now, here's a few things. We talk about closing costs, and a lot of times people will say, well, what are those? Well, here's a list of them. And when we talk in person, we'll sit down and we'll give you a list you can look at, and we'll even write out and come up with what the numbers are exactly for particular homes when you're thinking of making a purchase. So there's no surprises, okay? Couple closing costs would be fees for a title search. The title search is something that's important. You're going to want to make sure that when you buy the home, nobody else can come along and say, hey, we own that home. You can't buy it. So we're going to make sure there's a search for the title. We're going to make sure that you also have title insurance. So if somehow someone 130 years ago gained an interest in your home and there's no records of that, but they can prove it, well, you're covered with insurance to do that. So that's a cost that you'll incur at the closing table when you're executing the purchase, when you're making that purchase, okay? Couple other things. In Georgia, attorneys handle the closing. They're the ones who make sure the title is clear. They make sure you've got the title insurance. They're going to sit down and make sure all the paperwork is correct, and they're going to submit that so that you get title to the home, all right? And to do that, they charge a fee as well, usually a few $100s. Sometimes people decide they like to buy the interest rate down. In other words, go in and purchase a home, borrow the money, but have a lower interest rate for 1, 2, 3, or maybe more years. Well, there's a way to do that, and that would be a cost you would incur if you so chose to do that. All right. Next are HOA fees. You know, HOAs will often say, hey, we're happy you're here. We love you. We're going to bring you a plate of cookies. Yeah. But also, you're going to have to give us a few $100s as your initiation fee as you move in to be a part of our HOA. Then you can enjoy the pool and the tennis courts and all those kinds of things. One time funding fees for a VA loan, okay, Veterans Administration loan, that's a kind of a loan fee that you might have to pay. If you've got an FHA loan, there's also some upfront fees, prepaid property taxes. You know, when you buy that home, your lender is going to say, we need you to deposit some money into our bank account. We're going to hold it for you. So when your property taxes come due, all right, we'll pay that for you. But we want to make sure those property taxes are being paid every year on time because it's our money that we've invested in your home. So that's one thing. Also, prepaid home insurance. The bank also wants to make sure your home is insured so that, hey, you go in, you buy it, and 2 weeks later, by accident, the home gets hurt or destroyed or burns down. Well, the bank wants to make sure you got insurance to cover that loss, and they're going to ask for a few $100s or $1,000 to cover that prepaid insurance as well. All right, we'll talk more about that. But basically, you can estimate somewhere between about 3% to maybe 4%, sometimes a little higher, of the purchase price of the home that you'll be needing to bring to the closing table when you purchase your home. And those closing costs are in addition to the down payment. Okay? But here's the thing. There is the bad news that it's expensive. But there's good news too. What if we could come up with a way to have someone else to pay those costs? Well, that's where we come in. That's where realtors come in. We can sit down where we're making your offer, we're writing up the purchase and sale offer to give to the sellers. We can say, we'd like you, Mr. Seller, to cover some of these closing costs for us. We don't want to come out of pocket by $10,000. We'd rather have that included in the purchase price. Okay? Raise your hand if you think it might be nice if someone else covered some of those costs. Oh, come on, get those hands up. I do. Absolutely. And that's one of our key ideas of getting some incentives from those sellers. There we go. I'm seeing some waves. I'm seeing the thumbs up. Yeah, buddy, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to keep going, okay? Because my son said I got to end on time tonight, okay? And we only talk for 45 minutes, then we'll take your questions. Major mistake number 4, here it is. Not hiring a buyer's agent first. I got a quick story for you. Back when I first bought a wilderness camp up in North Carolina. We bought 60 of the most beautiful acres right on the Blue Ridge Parkway, where we held a wilderness adventure, high adventures camp. We had a ropes course, we had a low ropes course, we had teepees on this thing, we had cabins. We took young people on wilderness adventure camps, and it was great. When I bought that land, I thought my agent that I had called about buying a property like this, I thought they represented me. Well, back in 1993, agents could not represent buyers. It wasn't heard of. It wasn't until about 1996, depending on what state you were in, that an agent could represent a buyer. In fact, up until about a year ago, there were about 20 states in the U.S. that had no buyer's agency. Buyer's agents didn't exist. A realtor only could represent the house sellers. Well, now I didn't realize that, and I went and we asked questions, and we thought this agent was working for us, but the agent wasn't working for me. And I discovered that when after we purchased the property, we discovered there was no way to get electricity up that 1.5 mile road to our camp. So here I was with 60 acres of wilderness camp, and there was no way to get a power line in there. Now, That was kind of crazy. You'd say that's impossible, but in North Carolina, I'm happy to tell you the story, and it was true. Well, we ended up still operating that camp for about 8 years, had a great time, had thousands of young people come through. But you got to make sure you have somebody who represents you, who's not going to let one of those kind of mistakes slip through. All right. So hiring a buyer's agent is a brilliant idea. Here's what buyer's agents do for you. Here's what the Knight Group at North Realty can do for you. Number one, we'll do a personalized property search. We want to sit down with you and ask you, tell us what your goals are. Tell us why that's important. Tell us what you're looking for. What areas? Well, why is that area important? The more we know, the better we can help you find the right home that's going to serve your purposes for many years. Okay. Number two, we've got market expertise. We know what's going on in the market. And there's very difficult for someone who's not in the real estate business to have any idea really what's happening. We're happy to share that with you, as well as some financial guidance. Number three, skilled negotiation. We got a lot of years of negotiating with folks and knowing how to sit down to get you the best deal possible. All right. That's what we're here to do. We're going to give you full service transaction management. That means the whole transaction we'll help to coordinate. Takes a lot of these facts and the efforts off of your plate and puts them on our shoulders. And we'll take care of you in that. We can't give legal guidance, but we can look at the contracts and explain what the different clauses in the contracts mean. And if you have any questions, of course, you should certainly talk with an attorney. But we'll go over that as well, because we've been trained and taken courses on what all this language means in the real estate world. Okay. Finally, even after we have our celebration day, we're here to support you. You might say, gosh, we need to get a plumber, or we may need to get a painter. We're happy to help you. As time goes on, we want to be, I kind of see my clients as lifelong clients. Okay. So we're here for you throughout. That's what a buyer agent does. You say, well, what do you get paid? I say, well, here's the thing. Now there's been a big real estate lawsuit, and they're all kind of fussing, but we're still doing pretty much what we've always done here in Georgia, because we've been representing buyers for over 25, about 30 years now in Georgia. And here's the thing. The seller or the seller's agent is typically going to pay for my services. Okay. Sometimes the seller decides to pay for part of my services, and you have to step up to the plate and pay for the rest. Sometimes sellers say, we don't want to pay for anything for those buyer's agents. Well, those folks are never going to sell their house, because that's just not the way it's been done. Although everything's negotiable. And then when it comes to how you compensate people, it's all negotiable. But I've been working for folks for many, many years, and 100% of the time, I've always made sure that I'm paid by the person selling their home and not my clients. Okay. If you have questions about that, feel free to ask them too. Here's major mistake number 5. I'm moving along here. Here we go. Going direct to a new home builder. Now, you might think, but man, those new home builders have got some amazing deals right now. And I'm going to tell you, they do. And we're happy to help you find a new home if that's the kind of home that's going to serve you best. New home builders, they're offering to pay some of your closing costs. They're offering to pay down your interest rate. They're offering lots of things to try to get you in the home. But let me tell you, if they're paying those things, well, ultimately, they're charging you for those things in that purchase price that is higher than it ought to be. And that's why I recommend, if you want to go look at new homes, get a realtor to represent you. And when you walk into that new home builder, you give them your realtor's card and say, I'm represented by Jeffrey Knight. He's my realtor. He's going to take care of me, but I'd like to see the homes. And I'll also go with you to look at any new homes you'd like to see. Me or William or Philip, we're happy to do that for you. So you can go to those folks, but there's some of the problems. No one is looking out for you if you're going on your own. Okay. And even if you have a realtor and you happen to step in the door and start talking to those builders, well, they're not going to pay your realtor's compensation then. You're not going to have somebody representing you unless you pay for it. So think about that. Keep that in mind. Here's some tactics we also want to use. We're going to talk to these new home builders. I'm going to tell you, number one, you want to look for the homes that the builder needs to get off their books. We'll talk about that further, but there's certainly homes they really need to get off their books. There's certain times of the year that it's better to go see some new home builders, all right? Number two, we always want to play the walkaway game. I remember buying a large purchase one time, and I had a fellow who knew how to do the takeaway, and he was good at it. He'd say, I'm not going to sell this to you. No, not going to do it. And he walk away. I'm like, but I want to buy it. Well, folks, builders are the same way. You don't want to walk in there the first day and say, oh, this looks fantastic. I'm all excited. And they look at you and say, whoa, my goodness, this is what we want to see today. Nope, always kind of go in with that skeptical look. I'll tell you this too, and here's the tip. When we're going in to see homes with you, and anybody's home today, there's a lot of folks out there that now have videos in their home. Maybe you've got some in your home too. And those videos are picking it up. And do you know what those home owners are doing after you walk through that home and you start commenting and going, ooh, I like this, and ooh, wow, this. They love it because now they know how much you love their home. So when you go through a home, you don't want to have long conversations there about what your thoughts are. Save those until after you viewed the home and get back outside. Then you can talk about it with your buying partners or your realtor. Okay, that's a freebie right there. All right. Bottom line is, for builders, the deal is not always the best deal. And often we can get better deals for you. So we'll be happy to talk about that. Here's major mistake number 6, overlooking those first-time home buyer programs. Now, I'm going to go through some of this kind of quick. I don't have time to go over an extensive idea of what all of the first-time home buyer programs are in Georgia, because there's a bunch of them, and they can be very, very helpful, all right? But when we chat in person, if you want to talk in person, we'll be happy to direct you to a mortgage broker who specializes in working with first-time homebuyers. Not every bank or every mortgage broker does that. Not all of them can do that, but we'll make sure you're in contact with folks who can help you in that regard. What is a first-time buyer program? Well, number one, it's specific to location. Sometimes it's a county issue. Sometimes it's a part of the state. Sometimes it's just within a state. It can be dependent on your income. So there's income limits as a first-time home buyer if you want to get into one of these programs. It might require you to hang on to the home for a year or 2 or 3 years. In other words, they don't want to be doing this for folks who are just going to get in and get back out to try to make a profit. They don't want to make this money available to investors, in other words. It may have an interest rates that are more favorable than the market rates. That's a good thing to know. Some will offer you 100% financing. Also, some are down payment grants. In other words, they will give you money for the down payment, and then if you fulfill certain requirements, they'll waive that money. You won't have to pay it back. Raise your hand if you think that would be a good idea. I thought so. Yeah, absolutely. All right, how about this? Some are based on what kind of job you have, like policemen, firemen, nurses, sometimes teachers. There's special programs for people like that. If you're one of those kind of folks, that's a program you definitely want to look into, and we'll help you find out more, okay? Some just sort of exist because of things that banks did that were bad in the years. Can you believe banks would do something bad? Okay. Anyway, some are federal tax credits also that can help you. And you might be able to stack 1 or 2 or 3 of these on top of each other, and really makes a great deal for you. All right. Here's what is called in Georgia, one of the major programs in Georgia. It's called the Peach Advantage Loan Program. Well, you knew it had to be peach because we're in Georgia, all right? And here's a quick graphic. It's not very clear on your TV screen there, your computer screen. I said TV screen, your computer screen, but there's some ideas. There's actually 4 different programs, and we'll put that information in your hands if you're a first-time home buyer, all right? Okay. Major mistake number 7, forgetting home inspections and home warranties. Make sure you're going to get inspections after you come to a contract. So you get the house under contract, then you're going to have a home inspector go in to make sure that there's none of the systems that are failing. And if there are issues, we go back to that home seller and we negotiate whether they're going to fix those or whether they're going to maybe lower the price of the home in regards to those items. So there's some ways we can negotiate, but again, we're there to protect you. I always encourage my clients to ask for the sellers to purchase a home warranty. We go get everything nowadays with warranties. I mean, I'll go in and buy a $5 thing at the Walmart, and those, it comes up on the little computer screen. Would you like a warranty on it? I say, well, no. But for a home, having a 1 year or multiple year warranty, what a blessing that would be. Absolutely. Let's keep going. Wave your hand now. Come on, give me a big wave. Put a little chat in there, do something so I can hear you, okay? If you'd like to avoid these mistakes. Do I see you? I'm looking. Oh, there's a wave. There's 2 thumbs up. Yeah. There's another hand raised. All right. And I see some of you are just nodding your heads out there, even though your TV screens aren't on. I can tell. I can tell. All right. Now that we know those mistakes we want to make, here's the thing. If you want to avoid the mistakes, I'm going to give you an opportunity right now, okay? I'm going to do this real quick. Let me just see if I can get my little mouse to work here. There you go. I'm going to put in, oh, got to click it there. I'm going to put in an opportunity for you to schedule a consultation. You can schedule a consultation with myself or my son, William. We'll sit down there. It can be by phone, or we can do it by Zoom so we can see each other, or we can do it in person, whatever you want to do. It can just be 15 or 20 minutes if you'd like, just so we can talk to begin a relationship, to find out what your goals are, to find out what features you're looking for in a home, talk about the financing plan and where you are in that regard. We can give you the names of some wonderful mortgage brokers in our area that you can go ahead and start that whole pre-approval process for, okay? And the whole idea is just to start the process. There's no obligation, it's free, but if you want to do that, there's a link I just put in the chat box. You can click that link. That'll take you right to a little place where you can schedule an appointment online, okay? Now, you can always call us. That's fine, too. We love to do that. But if you want to schedule an appointment, feel free. Okay, I've got just a few minutes that I'm going to go through now. The 8 steps. I'm skipping some things because I've just got too much to talk about tonight. The 8 steps of buying your castle. This is the process that I'm going to encourage you to go through, and this should answer a few of your questions as well. I'm going to go fast. Number 1, like we said, get the financing lined up, right? There's different kinds of loans. There's conventional, FHA, VA, USDA loans. All these loans you might have heard of, you might want to know more about. There's different down payments for those different loans. There's different terms for those different loans. There's different mortgage insurance depending on where you are in some of those loans. And there's different credit scores that will qualify for those different types of loans. So these are things you're going to want to get ahead of the game on and get in place early. All right. This page right here is in the book that we're going to send to you. We're going to give to you. And we're happy to answer any questions about that. But this is the first step. Second step is that castle shopping, and this is the fun part. And here's what I recommend. Step 1, you got to sort of decide what is it you want. Now, I've had buyers in the past who've told me, well, they're thinking of buying a home somewhere between Lawrenceville and Canton. And I was like, we might need to define that a little bit more to find your home. We've got to talk about what school districts are you thinking of if you have children, or even if you don't have children, you still want to keep the school districts in mind, because one day you might want to sell that home to a family that does have children, okay? We're going to explore different neighborhoods, and I'm going to encourage you, if you sort of know where you want to be, start driving around, getting an idea of what the neighborhoods are like to see where you're going to feel comfortable living, yeah? Step 3, connect with a knowledgeable real estate agent like me, William, or maybe someone else, but find somebody that can help you through the process. Plan ahead, define your location, choose neighborhoods that you like, and we want to make it a smooth process, okay? But also keep an open mind. Sometimes you don't know about a neighborhood, or you don't know about a particular subdivision or particular area, and that's what an experienced realtor can help you learn about as well. So this whole Castle Quest is a lot of fun. We're going to give you some pages that you can fill out, sit down with your spouse or anybody that's in the whole home buying process with you. Do it together, or maybe do it separate and then get together and compare and contrast. See, well, what are we really looking for? Okay. Once you decide what those features are, well, then that's when the night team or another realtor can sit down and say, now we're going to put a search together for you. And we've got tools. Yes, you can go to Zillow or Realtor.com and you can put it, but there's no way that a layperson can go in and do it with such detail that we can. Also, we kind of know some tricks of the trade that'll help us find the right homes for you. Okay. Sometimes we just have to sit there and go through a lot of properties, and we're going to choose the ones that really are the ones that you said you're interested in. And that's the information we're going to send to you. We're also going to help you do a private tours of those homes. We'll set up those home tours, take you out. We'll provide our insights to you. We'll have a listening ear, and we'll help you make the decision. Here's what search that we'll set up for. We do this through the MLS, multiple listing service, and that's a search of all the homes listed and being on the market by all the real estate companies in the area. We don't just show you homes that our company has listed. No, we'll show you every home in the marketplace that's currently available. We'll also keep you up to date anytime a particular home has a price decrease or a change in the status. We'll let you know that automatically. And you can go into this same site and you can actually tweak out the features you're looking for and look at the map, and you can do home searching on it. It's a beautiful tool. We'll make that available to you once you become our client. Okay. Once you see the different homes that are there, you'll be able to get more detailed information about that home. This particular home has 59 different photos you could look at. It'll have virtual tours. You can see all the information. You'll know more about that home than you ever used to know about before all these tools. But then we'll set up that tour and take you out there to have you have an opportunity to look at the home. Okay. Well, now, is this the kind of service you're looking for? Is this raise your hand again? Is that kind of what you're looking for in someone to help you find a home? We're going to give you complete information. We're going to help whittle it down so you're only seeing the homes that you want to see that really match those features. I hope so. Yeah? Okay, that's great. Here we go. I've got just a couple more minutes. Once we find the home, maybe you find 2 or 3 homes that you really like, it's time to sit down and make an offer. We will sit down and handle all the paperwork. And trust me, there's a lot of paperwork involved, but we'll take you right through it carefully. We'll explain all of it to you. If you have questions, we'll help you to know what you're signing, because you are making a commitment. We're going to send an offer. You're saying we're going to purchase this home for this amount of money and this a number of days or this time frame. Here's the earnest money we're going to put down. Here's some contingencies, some things that have to happen to make sure that it's the home we want to buy. We're going to make sure you're protected and you have some time, some days in there to do some due diligence, have those inspections made, to go through it, to bring your friends, your family to come by and look too, to get their input, whatever you want to do to make sure that home is the right one. And once that due diligence time is up, your lender's getting busy. They're making sure the money's in place. And this is all part of that looking and showing. We're also going to maybe talk to those sellers and say, hey, seller, can you pay the closing costs? Seller, would you buy the interest rate down? What are some things you can do for us sellers to make us want to buy your home instead of the home a block away at the same price with the same features? So that's called negotiation. All right. Again, you like that? Who wants a lower interest rate? We've talked about it. Yeah. Step 4 is that castle inspection. We've talked about making sure you get inspections. An inspector is going to go in and spend several hours crawling under the crawl space, crawling up through the attic. They're going to look at everything. They're going to take photos. They're going to give you a multiple, maybe 30, 40, 50-page report that explains everything about the home and all its systems, okay? And then once you get that inspection, they might say, hey, by the way, you probably want to get a termite inspection, or you might need a different roof inspector to look at this. You may need an HVAC guy to come in and take a look at it as well. They're going to help walk you through that. We'll help you walk through it as well. Once you get that, you can go back to those sellers and say, listen, we found some things we need you to address, just as I mentioned before. And that's part of the process. Once that's done, your lender's going to order an appraisal, all right? And they're going to start to finalize the loan. That's a kind of period that's usually it's a little quieter. Man, you've been busy rushing around, getting all the documents, getting ready, you get everything. And then it gets kind of quiet, kind of quiet. And that's because we and the mortgage lender and other folks that are helping to make it all work, we're working behind the scenes to get the house ready for celebration day. All right. Preparing for closing and celebration. Well, we're going to give you a list of things that you need to bring with you to the closing. We're going to talk to you about making sure you got all the right paperwork. We're going to help you that whole process. All right. Then you'll have a final walkthrough of that home to make sure it's just the way it's supposed to be. You're going to make sure you got the certified funds you need to bring to that closing attorney. You're going to sit down, you're going to sign, review, sign the documents. Then we celebrate. Yeah? And that's my favorite part of the whole process. All right, I'm going on real quick here. If you'd like to schedule a consultation, now's the time to do it, okay? I think, William, go ahead and put that link in there again. If you'd like to talk about starting this process, and even if you're not ready yet, but if you just want to touch base with us and say, hey, I think Sally said that she was thinking of starting the process maybe the first of the summertime. That's a good time to start. But go ahead and make an appointment so we can chat by phone, would you? We'd love to chat with you. Well, you can tell us your goals, tell us the features, the location, the finance plan. Go ahead and do that tonight to make sure that we get you on the calendar in the next couple of weeks. All right? All right, I'm going on. Oh, and there's the last thing. It's important as you go forward. Picking a great team. We would love to serve you. In fact, we love to serve you so much that I'm going to email you, because you were here tonight, I'm going to email you an ebook. I love ebooks because they're a lot lighter than regular books. This is the complete guide to buying a home. It looks at everything we've talked about and a whole lot more. I'll email that to you tomorrow. All right. And if we get together and meet, I'll be happy to give you a paperback copy as well. It's a little bit easier to read sometimes. Okay. Well, here's again the summary of what we do for our clients. We keep you updated on all the homes on the market that match the features you're interested in. We arrange private tours of those homes. Give you some time to go in there. We can go back to see homes multiple times if you're interested, okay? We'll prepare the written contracts, the offer, making sure all the paperwork is done properly. Okay. We'll help to make recommendations for vendors, inspectors, mortgage brokers, all the folks that can help you through this process. You get to choose who you want to use, but we can recommend some that we've had good experiences with in the past. Yeah. Oh, and we want to negotiate in your interests on your behalf. We want to get you the home at the best price possible in the right time frame with the best concessions. Okay. We want to help that to all happen in a smooth manner. We will coordinate that whole process and we'll make it smooth. And remember, our fees are paid at closing by the sellers. All right. That's a pretty good deal. Well, like I said, this is free for our clients. All right. All compensation is negotiable. We got to say that all the time because it really is. There's no set fees in any of this. Here we go. Book your consultation. Don't wait. Schedule it 12 months out if you want to. We're happy to chat anytime. Some people might need to do some repair work on their credit. We can even put you in touch with an expert who can help you through that process. Maybe you're not quite ready to buy a home yet, and you need to work on getting that credit score up a little bit. We can help you with that as well. So make an appointment. We'd love to chat with you, all right? Here we go. Look at that. I'm only 5 minutes over, which is not too bad for me. Was this helpful? If this was at least helpful, maybe you learned one thing. Can you just put a thumbs up or wave your hand in the chat box? That would make me feel good. That would be great because we love to do this, but we don't get to talk to folks because I just see nobody puts their cameras on anymore, But I do want to make sure that we're giving information that's helpful. Now is the time to write down some questions if you have questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. We'll just take 10 or 15 minutes. Don't want to take your time. If you don't want to stick around for the questions, that's fine too. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you joining us tonight. But we got a few questions. I do see Oh, okay. Ivana says that she needs repair work done. All right. Well, and is Ivana, is that on a home you're in currently that you're going to need to sell? Right. Give me a little text in there, right in the chat, so I have a better idea. If it's a home that you currently have, we're happy to help you find vendors that might be able to come along and do that work for you. And if you are selling a home, we also have some very helpful information. In fact, next Tuesday, we do a webinar for home sellers, and we'll talk about that whole process as well. Folks who have a home and they have to sell and they want to buy a home, is a very complicated process to get all that happening just right so the closing works out well. But we're happy to do it, and we do it for lots and lots of folks. We really do. And we love to do it. Okay. So I'm seeing, oh no, okay, some credit repair work. Gotcha. Credit repair work. Well, that's fine. So we'll make a point of that. And if you make an appointment, we'll chat about that. We'll make sure to get you in touch with some folks who can help you with that as well. Okay. What are some other questions? William, did you have any questions that you saw that people have written in here? I'm just going to scroll up here.
I don't think I've seen any.
Okay. I see that Dottie wants to buy 2 to 3 acres. All right. And Dottie, we can help you with acreage. Looking forward to chatting. If you'll set an appointment, we can chat about where you're looking, what usage you want for those 2 to 3 acres. Do you want acreage with a home on it already, or you want to build? We can talk to you about all that. Just make an appointment. And again, Avonda, you want that multi-unit property. I'd love to hear more about that. So make an appointment. We can discuss it. Okay. Um, any other? I see a couple more questions down here below here. All right. Someone's going to call us. Dottie going to call us. Okay, great. You can call us. And one of you folks on the iPhone, you want to buy land. Well, seeing as how we have our office in Dahlonega, I can tell you we've sold more land than most other brokerages in the state of Georgia. We sell a lot of land, whether they're small tracts or large tracts. So give us a call or make an appointment. Be happy to help you with that. All right. Thank you. Someone said they booked. Fantastic. We look forward to chatting with you. Well, William, how'd we do? What do you think? We do okay? Do we do okay, everybody? I sure hope so. Hey, God bless you guys. If you have someone you're already working with, that's wonderful. If you have any questions, still feel free to give me a call. Always happy to help my friends and my fellow realtors as well in the process of helping folks find the right home. Okay? God bless you. Take care. Make an appointment or give us a call, and we're going to send you that book out tomorrow. Bye-bye now.